Hello, my friends. It's Misty Eduardo. I hope you guys are doing well. Are you guys ready for another day of poetry? I am. I hope you guys have been enjoying it. It's one of my very favorite things. And hopefully you've been able to enjoy a lot of different kinds of poems. And hopefully you guys have been enjoying writing some poetry of your own as well. And again, I'm going to go back to my biggest lesson ever is that anybody can be a poet and poems can be about anything. Now I had my poem about the big orange cup, if you guys remember. We're going to sort of use that as an inspiration later today. So over the next couple of days, we're going to be talking about sound and how poets use different kinds of sounds in their poetry. And when I say sound, it doesn't necessarily just mean things like bang, crash, boom, although that is going to be one of the things we're talking about. It also means different kinds of words. So for instance, we're going to be talking about rhyming today. You guys know about rhyming? You have been rhyming since you were like 3 years old, reading Hop on Pop. We're going to talk a little bit about making sure that you understand how to create two rhyming words and taking a look at which parts of the words really need to sound the same and really the only part that needs to be different. Because sometimes you think you're rhyming, but you're really not. So I'm going to help you along with that. We are going to take a look at a few different rhyming pairs that I've created, and we're going to see how brainstorming some rhyming words can actually help you come up with your own rhyming poem instead of just staring at a blank piece of paper and then trying to figure it out as you go. So we're going to try that. And then I'm going to show you a rhyming poem that I found that you can use as your starter poem today if you want. You don't have to if you have something in mind, but just in case you're kind of stuck for an idea, I have a starter poem that you can use, and I'm going to show you how you can kind of switch things up a little bit to make it easier for yourself. So I hope you guys are ready, because I know I am. Okay, let's talk a little bit just about rhymes in general, because that's going to be your like star of the show today. And you need to know how to hear rhyming words, how to pick those out of poems, and also how to write the rhyming words and how to see them. So, you know, rhyming words like hat and cat, kind of like that. I know a lot of times we hear them, but sometimes when we go to write them, we think two words are rhyming pairs and they're really not. So I want to show you what to look for just in case you need a little refresher. Okay, I don't have anything over here. I do. I have a word under here, but I want to show you what you're going to look for. So the only thing that's really going to change when you're thinking about two rhyming words, the only thing that really should change is the very first sound. That's it. It's the first sound. When you're thinking about rhyming words, the other big, really important thing to think about is the vowel sound that you hear, not necessarily the actual like vowel. It might be the letter U, but it might say oo, or it actually might say U. It might be the letter O, but it might say ah, or it might say O. I think even somewhere in there that rhymed. If you know me, you know that I just like rhyme accidentally almost. But you want to have the same vowel sound. That's really, really important. So don't just look for the like name of the vowel, what vowel it is. I want you to think about the sound that the vowel makes. That's really important. The other thing that's important is the rest of the word, and the rest of the word should look or sound the same. Most likely it's going to look just about the same. The ending will be the same. It will sound the same. So again, the only thing that's different is that very first letter, that very first sound. Your vowel sound should be the same always in your rhyming words, and then the ending should look or sound the same, and it really all comes down to sound. A lot of times the rhyming word pairs look alike, but sometimes as you guys read more challenging poems, sometimes they might actually be using higher vocabulary, bigger vocabulary words, so they're spelled all kind of wacky ways. They might not actually look the same, but I want you to think about the sounds. So beginning sound, different in rhyming pairs. Vowel sound and ending sound is going to be the same. So I have the word funny, and a rhyming word for that would be sunny. Funny, okay? Sunny. So funny, sunny, they rhyme, right? If we wanted to add more to that, it could be funny, sunny, bunny, runny, funny, sunny. We could go on for a long time with that, I think, right? We probably could. Now, I want to tell you something that sometimes happens. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes. Sometimes kids get confused and think that the only thing that should be the same is the beginning and the end. And for some strange reason, sometimes, I'm not saying it happens to you, but sometimes they end up changing the whole middle. I don't know why it happens, but sometimes they do. Like they'll keep the vowel sound, but they'll change something that happens in the middle. So I'm going to give you an example of something that sometimes happens. So if somebody wanted to come up with a rhyming word for funny, someone might say fuzzy. Well, funny, fuzzy, they do both end in that E sound, that letter Y at the end, and they do both have the sound, like funny and fuzzy, but they change the middle. And if you go back, remember what I said, you have to keep that middle the same. Okay, so that's really important. So if you get stuck, just go back to this, okay? The beginning, different between the two words. Your vowel sound and your middle and ending sound are going to be the same. So go back to that if you need to. All right, now I'm going to show you what I like to do when I'm getting ready to write a rhyming poem, so I don't get too stuck on what I want to say, but I actually get to play with some rhyming words beforehand, and somehow magically the poem, I don't know, somehow just gets created. It's kind of magical. And I have a feeling you guys have that magic too. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is maybe think of one thing that you want to write about. Remember I told you about my big orange cup, and I wrote like that, or created that poem about my orange cup, and then I created like another poem about my orange cup yesterday. Do you know what happened to my orange cup? It broke. My orange cup broke. I had to throw it out. That's so sad, right? But I ended up buying a brand new cup, of course, because I needed to replace it. I needed something to, have my water from. So I thought about the object that I wanted to write about, and I just kind of kept that in my head. And then as I was thinking about the object, I thought about some words I might use in a poem that might have a rhyming pair. I didn't really write out the poem first, but I started thinking about words I could use to either describe the cup or that I might use in really telling the story about a cup, because that's really what rhyming is. It's telling a story, but in a much different way than we're used to. So I'm going to show you the rhyming words that I came up with. I'm actually going to flip the camera, and I'm going to show you the rhyming words that I came up with. And this is my suggestion for you also, is to think of your object, think of some words that you might use to describe the object or tell about it, and see if you can come up with a rhyming word to go along with the one that pops in your head. Let me show you the words that I chose for my brand new cup. Okay, so I took out some index cards, and if you don't have index cards, that's fine. Like, take a piece of paper or scrap paper. It doesn't have to be big, sticky notes. Don't waste too much paper. But I want you to grab a bunch of them before you start your rhyming poem. So the first word that I chose, because I knew I was going to tell about my new cup, was actually the word cup. And so I was trying to think of, well, what are some words that actually rhyme with cup that I can use? And I was like, well, like sup and pup and I don't even know. Like I was actually kind of stuck with some words. But then I was thinking, well, maybe my next word won't have to do with an actual thing or a color, but maybe I can think about like a sound that I want to throw in there. So what I did was I thought about me being sad about the fact that my cup broke. And I thought, well, if I was sad, I might say, whoop, whoop. Kind of like a sound, almost like I was crying. So cup, whoop, whoop. And you see that beginning letter, that beginning sound is different. And then I have my vowel sounds that are the same, and my endings that are the same also. So I was able to use cup, whoop, whoop. Can you already get a sense for how I was feeling? I hope so. So the next word that I wanted to use was the word new, because I got a new cup. And so I was thinking of words that rhyme with new, and I was like, well, new, shoe. I could have written with the word shoe, and maybe the word few. And then I was thinking again how I was feeling, because I just said whoop, whoop. Well, that meant I was sad. But wait, sad, new, they don't rhyme. Can I think of another word to use for sad. And I was like, new, oh, wait a minute, I know. Sometimes people say that they're blue. So new, blue. Like when people are sad, sometimes they'll say that they're blue. So I was like, oh, well, that worked out just fine. And so then the last one, this was my favorite one. I was thinking, well, what do I use my cup for? Obviously to put in a drink. And one of the things I love to put in my water every day is ice. But wait, drink, ice, well, they don't rhyme. But let me think about a sound that the ice makes when it goes in my cup. So then I was like, oh, drink, plink, plink. So now I have cup, whoop, whoop, new, blue, drink, plink, plink. Now I don't have a poem yet, but I have rhyming words that I know I'm going to use. So let's see if I can come up with a poem for this. Okay, are you ready to read my poem? See if you can hear those rhyming words. I broke my big orange cup. I was so sad and cried, whoop whoop. Since I felt so blue, I decided to get a cup that was brand new. Now I have a place for my drink. I love when my ice goes plink plink. Well, I hope you liked my poem. One of the things that I want you to notice, that I think you'll notice in most of the poems, the rhyming poems that you read, is that you're going to hear that rhyming word at a particular part in the line of your poem. And where you hear that rhyming word in one line is where you're going to hear it on the next line. Usually, not always, usually that rhyming word, the rhyming pairs, will be at the end of a line. Sometimes poets get sneaky, and sometimes they'll have a rhyming word, a sentence that doesn't have a rhyming word, and then a sentence that has the matching rhyming word with it. But they'll always be at the same place in line, usually at the end of the line. All right, I'm going to show you another poem, and then I'm going to give that to you as something you could use if you get stuck on writing your own poem. I'll show you how to change it up a little bit. So the next poem I want to share with you is not one I wrote. It's called Imagine. It's by Roland Egan. I'm going to read it to you now, and I want you to notice the rhyming pairs and how they're at the end of each line. Ready? Imagine a snail as big as a whale. Imagine a lark as big as a shark. Imagine a bee as big as a tree. Imagine a toad as big as a road. Imagine a hare as big as a chair. Imagine a goat as long as a boat. And imagine a flea the same size as me. Okay, first of all, I don't want to know that a flea can be the same size as me. But let's take a look at our rhyming pairs, and you can say them with me. Ready? Let's start with snail. Snail, whale. Lark, shark. Bee, tree. Toad, road. Hare, chair. Goat, boat. Flea, me. One of the things I like that the author did here that is a good inspiration for you also is that they used the same phrasing throughout the whole poem. And they were comparing the creatures to one another, and they were using as big as to give you a picture in your mind so you can really imagine a snail that's actually as big as a whale. That would be kind of scary. So now you can see I changed the poem a little bit, and instead of it being as big as something, I changed it to it being as small as something. So I can still get an easy visual in my mind, and it might make it easier for me to come up with some rhyming pairs. So now I have to do a little bit of thinking, a little bit of brainstorming, and this is really important. I don't want to just keep all those thoughts in my head, so I'm going to grab a note paper and I'm going to start jotting down some ideas. I might use them in my poem and I might not. What I wanted to kind of keep in mind for myself, and this is just my like note taking, so it only needs to make sense for me, like your note taking needs to only make sense for you. I wrote down on the bottom like what else is small, because I wanted to keep that in mind, and I just wrote down the first of the animals or creatures. So I wrote snail, lark was one, bee, there was a toad, and what else was there? A hare, and I can keep going. So then I'm going to go to the snail and think, what else? And I wrote that note, like what else is small? What else is small like a snail? Snail. Oh, nail. I can write nail. Now it might be like a fingernail, or it might be a nail that I use with a hammer. All right, well, I'm gonna leave it at that because that just popped into my mind. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. You might think of something else. Maybe like, ooh, a lizard's tail, right? Because lizards are kind of small, or a salamander tail. You can do something like that also, where it's something that goes with it. So like a little lizard tail, a salamander tail, that would be fun. So a snail as small as a lizard's tail. Oh, I like that also. So I'm gonna put tail over here and I'll figure that out later. Lark. You might not know what a lark is, but I'm gonna tell you. Well, I'm gonna tell you a secret. I thought I knew, but I wanted to make sure, so I looked it up, and that's okay. You're going to see all different kinds of vocabulary words that you might not know. It's okay to ask and it's okay to look them up. I had to look this one up. It's a small bird, actually. So a lark. Let me just think. Park, dark, hark, like hark, who goes there? Oh, how about a whisper saying hark? I could say that. All right, so I'm gonna just jot down whisper and hark. Again, I'm not writing my whole poem down. I'm just jotting down notes. Like, that's all I'm doing. All right, bee. My goodness, what's gonna be as small as a bee? Goodness, because bees are kind of small. Oh, wait, let's see. Bee, sea, no. This ocean, sea, no. Tree, they said was as big as a flea. A flea might work. Oh, you know what else might work? If anybody else plays golf out there, not me, I said anybody else. I don't play golf. If anybody plays golf out there, you know the little tee that you put the golf ball on? That might be something also. So I'm gonna put both of those words down. I don't know which one I'm going to use. But do you see what I'm doing, how I'm brainstorming? I'm just brainstorming right now. And then when I go back into my poem, I'll start playing around with the words to see what I like best. And that's all you have to do. Okay, so what I want you to do now is just take a few minutes before you even go into the Google Slides to see what your big activity is today. What I want you to do is take a few minutes and I want you to brainstorm. I want you to brainstorm words that will rhyme with the words from the poem. Snail, lark, what else is in there? Bee, toad, hare, I forgot what else is in there. And I want you to start brainstorming. And I want you to create a poem using those rhyming words. So I left the poem in the video for you. I left it with the blanks. You don't have to print it. You don't have to do anything, but I just want you to see it. It's short enough that you actually could copy it in your journal. And after you're done brainstorming those rhyming words, I want you to plug them in, have fun with it, and see if you can come up with your own brand new poem. Then you're gonna hop right back on this video and you're going to finish listening to me tell you about the directions for today. All right, so go jot some things down. Go see if you can rewrite that poem and come up with your own rhyming pairs. Take a few minutes to do that and then come right back to the video. Have fun. All right, you're back, which means you've written your poem, I hope. The other thing I hope is that you got to share it with somebody, because that's like the most fun, I think, especially with like rhyming poems like this, it's the most fun. All right, so now it's time to finish the rest of our activity for today. So just like you've been doing, you are going to check out the Google Slides today all about rhyme. You're going to take a look through the Google Slides. There's a couple of other really cute poems in there, and I want you to take time to read them, pay attention to the rhyming words that are in there. Notice where the rhyming words are. Notice how the beginnings of the words change, but the middles and the endings sound the same. Notice that. And then you're going to get to today's assignment, and I want you to read through the assignment, and then you should know what to do. I'm not reading the assignment for you. I need you to read the assignment. Most of all, I want you guys to have so much fun with rhymes today. All right, guys, if you have questions, let your teacher know. Make sure you read the directions first before you ask, and have the most fun today. And then after you have fun, get out in the sun. Yeah, I rhymed again. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.